September 1st, 1922. That was the day I lost a dear friend. New York primarily knew him for his enigmatic life, but I knew him for his most prominent virtue, a virtue which only the few possess and the majority lament, the virtue of hope. Good afternoon, Tom. For formality purposes, I will address you as Mr. Buchanan. Is that okay?
Yes, that's all right.
Okay, first, I would like to say thank you for joining me.
Of course.
I would like to speak with you regarding Jay's untimely death.
Jay?
Jay? Jay Gatsby?
Oh, was that the poor fellow's first name?
Yes, Mr. Buchanan, it was. Back to the subject. Can you please explain to me your involvement in the Gatsby murder? Also, I would like to note that this is open record and you would not be charged as an accomplice to the crime. This interview will be explicitly for me.
Okay, where do I begin? I never really knew much about the poor devil until that night we stepped foot into his house. Even then, the longer we sat together, the less I knew about him. Then he told me he knew Daisy. That was the first red flag I had with this man.
But did you allow Gatsby to say how he knew Daisy?
He didn't say, but even if he did, in all honesty, I wouldn't have been interested to know. You see, Nick, to me Gatsby was one of those people who, Nick, have you ever met anyone where from your first interaction with them you didn't like? I mean, you hardly know them, but yet there's something about them that irks you.
Why, yes, Mr. Buchanan, I completely understand.
Well, that basically summarizes my relationship with Gatsby. Now, to address that question of yours, that night when everything had erupted in New York, we were on our way back, and we stopped by Wilson's garage, and that's when I saw Myrtle. Fast forward a few minutes, Mr. Wilson is rambling, and then he realizes that he saw the car, and it was a yellow Duesenberg, just like the one I have. Then this is where I became involved in the affair at hand. I then told Wilson that a fella named Gatsby owned the car.
So, wait. You basically knew that Wilson was going to kill whoever hit Myrtle, and you told him it was Gatsby.
Of course I did. What else was I supposed to do? Let him kill me for the faults of the bastard?
What if I told you that Gatsby wasn't the one driving?
Who would you say it was?
What if I told you that Daisy hit Myrtle?
But Daisy did no such thing.
Are you positive? Mr. Buchanan? Mr. Buchanan.
Well, I mean, it is possible. I mean, I wasn't in the car, so I can't say with 100% certainty that it was Gatsby. But Daisy would never do such a thing. Why are you asking me this? Of all men in the world, I'd expect you, her cousin, to defend her in this matter, rather than accuse her of the murder. What did you just say?
I think you heard me quite well, Mr. Buchanan.
I don't have time for this nonsense.
Thank you for meeting with me on such short notice, Daisy.
No problem whatsoever.
Daisy,
Yes?
who would you blame for the death of Gatsby?
Well, I couldn't tell you. Next question.
Daisy, please. I won't judge you based on your answer. I also found out that Tom told Wilson that Gatsby hit Mrs. Wilson, and
Tom didn't know any better. It was Gatsby who was driving when we left, and it would only be sensible of him to conclude that Gatsby was still the one driving when he hit Mrs. Wilson.
Daisy, I know you hit Mrs. Wilson. Gatsby told me the whole thing the night before he was killed. But what I'm asking you to do is tell me who you would blame for Gatsby's untimely...
It's my fault, Nick. It's all my fault. If I didn't hit Mrs. Wilson, none of this would have happened. Yes, Tom would still dislike Jay greatly, but he wouldn't have gone and told someone to basically go kill Jay. It's all my fault for even getting behind that wheel. There, I said it, and now I'm done.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, it is. And who am I speaking to?
Oh, excuse me for being impolite, boy. It's Meyer.
Meyer?
Meyer Wolfsheim.
Oh, goodness. I'm sorry. I have just been very busy with this project of mine.
That's exactly why I gave you a call.
What do you mean?
You've been asking around and gathering opinions on who really led to Jay's decline. I'd like to voice my opinion.
Well, go right ahead, sir.
I would personally say it was Jay himself. You take everything into account as to his rationale for making everything single decision he did. It's evidently him. His days at Oxford really did not teach him much for decision making.
I'm sorry, but I don't quite follow you.
Talks to Jay's father about the asset. Then you'll see what I mean.
What do you mean, asset?
Goodbye, Nick.
Mr. Gatz?
Nick, how are you? And please just call me Gats.
I'm doing quite well, sir. Thank you. But I have some urgent business to take care of.
Ah, yes, you would like the journal of my son.
Is that the asset?
Yes, indeed it is.
Then, yes, I would like to come into possession of it.
I suspected you would say so. I took the liberty of sending it to you a few days ago.
Great, Gatz. Thank you. I have received the package. With me now, I have the Journal of Gatsby, given to me by his father. Here we go. What do I do? I've tried everything. Big house, big parties, big money. What else does she need? I've done everything to make her realize that I'm not just some nobody. I need her to see what I've made of myself. Since that first day in Louisville, everything I'd done was for her. Getting involved in this whole hell of a business just to make her see me, but it's still not enough. What am I missing? August 2nd. Daisy, my goodness. What do I do? What else do you need? I've shown you that I showed you that I've become more of a man than before. I've even risked my public image for you. Doesn't that mean anything? Time. That's it. Time. That's exactly it. You love me, but you just need time to think of how to tell that to Tom. Ha! I now understand. Don't you worry, Daisy. Everything will be fine. Daisy, Daisy, Daisy. All of these entries are about Daisy. Wow. I get that Jay wanted to impress Daisy, but this... now, this seems like a bit much. He's made his world revolve around this girl who reappeared into his life after 5 years. He's gone completely overboard in his attempt. I mean, he didn't know if Daisy would even love him after all those years apart. Well, he thought she would, and she did, but there was no guarantee that she did. What's the point in living a life for an invisible goal? Taking all aspects into account, I must say that you led to your own end, old sport.